Good morning and happy Christmas. We've got a star-studded lineup of chefs, guests and recipes for you on this very special day. So let's get cooking. This is Christmas Sunday Kitchen. Welcome to the show. We've already got our Christmas jumpers on and we hope you have too. Look, mine does this. Ho, ho, ho. Cooking with me in the studio this Christmas Eve, the delightful Olia Hercules, who's bringing a touch of the Ukraine Yuletide to the proceedings, and also joining us, the fantastic Theo Randall, who's dishing up a festive Italian feast. Good morning to you both. Olia, I love your sparkles, Olia.
Thank you very much.
They're very nice. And your Christmas jumper, it's not really a Christmas jumper, is it, Theo?
Happy Christmas, John.
Is it?
So mine is a very subtle Christmas jumper, and it's not quite as maybe appealing as yours.
Well, I thought, I thought I might as well have a bit of fun with it, mightn't I? Ollie, you're cooking first with us. What are you going to make for us?
Yes, I'm making mushroom, chestnut and apple stuffed pyrishki, which are really beautiful brioche-like stuffed buns from Ukraine.
From the Ukraine. And then we can discuss the difference between pyrishki, pierogi, pimieni, and all those ones, because they're all the similar, aren't they?
With pleasure.
Very exciting indeed.
Very impressive.
A festive Christmas Eve bun, wonderful. Theo, what about you? What are you going to cook for us?
I'm cooking delicious hen pheasant, so pheasant wrapped in pancetta, stuffed with rosemary, and I'm going to cook it with celeriac, and I'm going to basically roast it in milk. And then we're going to serve it with some cavallonera. It's a very interesting flavour afterwards.
So you've got milk and celeriac and the pheasant all together?
Yeah, so when it cooks down, you get this incredible sauce with the celeriac. It gets kind of like quite lumpy and gives a lovely flavour. It
sounds absolutely delicious. Fascinating. A wonderful festive feast from both of you. And we got some gifts from the BBC archive too. There's Christmas recipes from Rick Stein, Nigella Lawson, Tom Kerridge and Nigel Slater. Our special guest today is an actress who swapped life as an insecure university student in Freshmeat to become a 1960s nurse in the BBC drama Call the Midwife. And she's starring in the Christmas Day special. Please welcome Charlotte Ritchie. G'day, Charlotte. How are you? Happy Christmas Eve.
And to you too.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
A Christmas Day special.
Yeah.
What is there something very special about the Christmas Day special?
Yes, it's longer, is the first thing. It's also, this one is particularly special because it's filmed in South Africa.
You have to tell me some more a little bit later on, which is great, okay. What sort of cook are you?
Absolutely terrible. I have three things I cook, I think. A fry-up, a stir-fry, and roasted vegetables.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's a pretty good repertoire.
Gets me through.
I think it'd be all right.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're here also, not just to celebrate Christmas Eve, but you're going to face your food heaven and your food hell.
Yes.
What would your food heaven be?
Pretty much anything chocolate is fine by me. It's the best thing I'll eat.
You love chocolate?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And your hell?
My hell is Christmas cake. Christmas cake or Christmas pudding.
Pardon?
Yeah,
it's Christmas Eve, Charlotte.
I know, exactly. I'm dreading it the whole day.
That's one of those sort of great dilemmas, isn't it? I mean, chocolate or Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell. Well, there we are. So for food heaven, I'm going to make you a delicious chocolate mousse with a hot chocolate sauce.
Great.
Using dark chocolate, brandy and cream, I'll whip up a mousse and serve it on top of a baked praline biscuit and pour over a rich hot chocolate sauce. And that melts all the praline across the top, so you get chocolate and caramel all together.
Yum. Good.
Now, or you could be facing your food hell, and that's Christmas pudding. I'll make you the ultimate Christmas pudding dessert, mixing leftover Christmas pudding with vanilla ice cream, brandy, and serve it with almond and marzipan puddings. And of course, we'll all have to wait until the end of the show to find out which one Charlotte gets. And we can catch up and talk all about Call the Midwife, Christmas specials, and you a little bit later on. But in the meantime, we're going to make some food, because I want to feed you. Olia, time for something festive, some festive buns.
Hello.
What are you going to make for us?
So I'm going to stuff some brioche buns, well, kind of brioche, Ukrainian brioche, with wild mushrooms, chestnut mushrooms, actual chestnuts, a really lovely apple, and some onion and a little bit of cinnamon.
Okay, and these are called?
They're called pyrishki.
Pyrishki?
Yes.
Fantastic. So what do we have to do? How do we start?
So basically, I'm going to dice this onion. I'm going to make the filling, and if you don't mind making the dough for me, that'd be amazing.
Okay, so what I've got to do make with the dough,
how
about that?
So we've got a room temperature, slightly warm milk.
Yes.
Then we've got honey and yeast.
Right.
And we're just going to mix it together and let it activate a little bit. And then add the salt and 2 egg yolks. And then you gradually add, you add the butter first, actually, a little bit of melted butter.
Right.
It's enriched dough, basically.
Okay.
And then you gradually add the flour into the liquid.
Okay, I can
mix.
do that while you chop away at your onion.
And I'm going to
So
chop
you want
away.
egg yolks only, not egg whites?
No, egg yolks,
fine,
please,
right.
yeah.
Okay, I've got to get this sorted out. Yeast, honey, salt, milk. Okay, I'll do that first.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, so you are Are you Ukrainian?
Yeah, a big mix, but yeah, mostly Ukrainian, I suppose, yes.
And tell me about Ukrainian food.
It's very regional, basically. I mean, everybody puts Eastern Europe into one basket, but actually, even within each country, it's very different. So this is actually more of a Western Ukrainian dish where they have forests, so they have all these beautiful apples and beautiful mushrooms there. In the south of Ukraine, it's almost more Mediterranean in a way.
Right.
So beautiful tomatoes, aubergines, things like that.
And am I right in saying that we're, for the Ukraine and of course around those areas, that Christmas Eve is really special?
It is very special indeed. Well, actually, Catholics obviously celebrate it tonight, but Orthodox celebrate it on the 6th of January.
Right, OK, so
Yeah.
but Christmas Eve, the feast is happening.
The feast is a really big feast, actually, 12 dishes.
Is that right? So 12 dishes of Christmas?
Yeah.
And is this one of the dishes?
Well, it's kind of a thing that we do at home. In fact, my mom, and you're supposed to have like pescatarian feast, but my mom actually stuffs this with fermented cabbage and pork and slow-cooked pork.
Right.
Which is a little bit, yeah, not so traditional. But I'm making a vegetarian version today because I just thought it would be nice
So
to
you've
go with
got,
the
you've got
traditional vibe.
mushrooms, you've got apples,
Yeah.
and you've got lots and lots of spices there.
It's just cinnamon, actually.
Just
But,
cinnamon?
yeah, just cinnamon. Just a little touch of it as well, not too overpowering because we want to taste the mushrooms and the apple, etc.
And what,
here?
do you have a sort of a childhood memory of the first time you ever ate these?
Yes, I
See,
guess.
I always think those sort of like those lovely sort of,
Yeah.
you know, festive buns and
Yeah.
festive things. Do you not remember the sort of first Christmas things you ate? Do you know what I mean? Do you not remember what Christmas, the first Christmas?
I always remember my mum's mince pies are legendary, and she has this kind of very sort of short crust pastry that's not actually that sweet, but the filling, the mincemeat inside is really sweet. And I used to take the lid off and put brandy butter in the top and have
How
them
old
warm.
were you when you were having brandy butter, Theo?
Too young, too young.
Delicious.
So I see. That's. I think memories are great like that. So this dough, you just make the dough like that, and then because it's yeast, I suppose it's got to prove, does it?
Yes, it's gonna proof for like until it doubles in size as well.
Okay.
Here's your
Oh,
butter.
butter?
Can I just stick it here?
All of that butter goes in?
Yeah, all of that butter. It's a really rich dough, and actually,
Wow.
I mean, this recipe kind of came as a yep.
Wow.
Best recipes kind of get created by mistake almost. So my mom just had leftover dough. She actually adds vanilla to this as well, just a tiny touch.
Wow.
And she was supposed to fill it with the sweet filling, and then we had that pork and fermented cabbage thing left over with spices, and she filled them, and it was the best thing I've ever had.
Right, so you could actually use this dough for a sweet filling as well as a savoury filling?
Yes, exactly.
So you just use apples and cinnamon and sugar?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Right, so I'm going to take that, and then that will go across, and that's going to prove, and it's going to double in size.
So cook your mushrooms over quite a high heat. I want to get a really nice colour on them to get a richer flavour.
Right. And so when you
And
use
onions
mushrooms,
and low.
what sort of mushrooms do you use?
So I have some chestnut for... this is mainly for texture.
Yep.
And then I've got wild mushrooms for flavour.
Wild mushrooms.
But you can go with whatever you like. You know, it's not a set recipe. Play around with it. Get whatever mushrooms you want. But yeah, just
Right.
as much flavour as you can.
These stoves sometimes are a bit funny. You need to give them a bit of a welly. Turn them up, then just give them
A welly?
Yeah, give them a bit of welly, which is like a bit more, ferocity
love it.
to it.
You learn something every day.
Onions and mushrooms and apples
Yeah.
and chestnuts. I suppose we associate that with the stuffing of the inside of a turkey.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I think all the
Cool.
stuffing for turkey.
Goose.
Onions and apples. Yeah.
Stuff goose with that.
Yes, of course. Delicious. Absolutely. So you are really making a stuffing for a bun, which could be used as stuffing for anything.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
we are. We've got a bit more noise going on here, which is
Exactly. And you can also add a little bit of buckwheat, slightly cooked buckwheat groats into this as well. It'd
Right.
be lovely.
good. OK, so they all cook off, and then I've
Yeah.
got my dough here.
Yeah.
The dough that's been risen. Do I knock that back?
Yes, please.
So with yeast dough, the deal is that when it rises, that you have to be able to knock it back and take the air back out of it.
Yeah.
Make sure you get Santa covered in flour. Do you like my Santa jumper,
Yes,
Olia?
I particularly love the
Because I'll tell you
beard.
why. Because
Very hipster.
No, because Charlotte just said to me it's really bad, and that's why it's really good.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Terrible.
exactly how bad
She's
it
got
is.
a point.
It's terrible, isn't it?
I feel like mine is. I was given advice by my friends that it was lovely, and I thought that's probably the worst thing about it is that it's actually quite a nice jumper.
It is quite stylish.
And that's the problem with Christmas,
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
needs to be huge and terrible like that one.
Right. Yeah. So how many balls am I going to get? Thanks very much, Al. I appreciate that.
Just
how
a big Santa face.
How many balls am I going to get out of this mixture here, Olia?
So do 100-gram balls. So, well, that would be 100 grams, I reckon.
So you get 6 out of it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So let's do
Yeah,
that. 1,
or
2,
8.
3. So they're fine. Okay, so that's that.
Okay, apple.
And then and then you put apple in there.
Yeah,
It
just
smells
diced.
amazing.
Diced apple.
It does.
Yeah. So onions, I want them to, you know, if you have time at home, give them about 15 minutes to really kind of
Right.
mellow
But if you
and
don't
become
have time,
soft
like
and
at
lovely.
Sunday Kitchen,
No,
and
no,
everybody's
if you
going to
don't,
do it, you get it there like that.
just roll with it.
In you go, drop your
Yeah.
apples in.
Yeah.
Right, and you keep it all separate. Interesting.
Well, only because I want these to get good colour, basically.
Right.
So you know, do not overcrowd the pan. Do it in batches.
Right. So they're all frying away.
Yep.
And they take a good sort of 15 minutes or so.
Yeah,
And you've got some mixture
mushrooms
which
a bit
we've
less
got.
than that.
We made some mixture before.
Yeah.
In the full knowledge that the mixture has to be cold, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Because you can't put a hot mixture inside a dough bun.
No, you can't.
Otherwise it will melt.
Yeah.
So do I now do, what do I do with these? Roll these in the balls?
Yeah, just roll them in the bowl and, you know, do it how you do with bread, sort of thing. Make it smooth, make a really nice smooth surface. So I'm going to add the chestnuts to my onions and then a little bit of garlic as well.
Right. And tell me, when you, with things like this, how do we pronounce it?
Pyrishki.
Pyrishki.
Yeah.
With this pyrishki, do you travel and research, or how do you get this inspiration?
My family,
Right.
mostly. But yeah, I mean, travel and research, but very natural, just, you know.
Because you've got, your first book is called,
Mamushka.
which is actually a phrase used in the Addams Family.
Yes, it is, yes.
Yeah.
You're joining these together now.
Right. So that's
Okay,
your mix all
that's
cooked.
Yeah, and now season it really well.
Yep.
You have to really season. And also pepper. I don't use pepper as a seasoning normally. If I use it as a spice.
Right.
So put quite a big kind of pinch
Okay.
in there to give it a little bit of heat.
So lots and lots of
And
pepper.
Yeah. A little pinch of cinnamon, not
Yep.
too much cinnamon.
Great.
That goes in.
Good.
Boom. And then join
That's
them
it.
together and there's your filling done.
Fantastic. And then what you're
Amazing.
going to do is
And
you're
then
going to
cool
show
it.
me how to make one of these buns, and then I will follow you on.
Yes, sure.
Let me take these out of the way,
Yeah, thank you
Okay.
very much.
and then go from there. That's good. So how do you make these buns?
So I will show you. So we take a little piece of dough.
Yep, there's one
Nice
dough there.
Garlic here. And I need a rolling pin.
Rolling pin.
Yeah. Which is over here.
That one?
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And now
Yep.
borrow a little bit of your flour. So flour your surface really well. Flour
Yes.
the top of the kind of dough as well.
And whilst you make these, I'll bring these out of the oven.
Okay, thank you. And then you roll it out into a roughly kind of a 15-centimeter disc. And this dough, I mean, I know it will feel really soft, but actually it's quite forgiving. And you can put quite a lot of filling into it as a
Right.
result, because you can stretch it. It's very malleable.
Okay.
So, and then we'll take a little spoon, which is over there.
Right up.
Yeah.
Those buns
one-
smell amazing.
Don't they smell
thank
fantastic?
you.
Oh, my God,
But
they're
the other thing is that sort of lovely
incredible.
smell of Christmas, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
Onions
The
and
cinnamon.
chestnuts and apples and cinnamon and all those things which feel... And amazing that all across the world that you get the same. You know, you talk about the Ukraine, you talk about the UK, you talk about wherever you go, there seems to be that wonderful smell of
So
Christmas.
quite a lot of filling. You know, you want
Yeah,
it
a
to be
lot of
really
filling.
tasty. So, but the dough is tasty as well. So look at that. And
Yep.
then that's it. And then you just pinch it together.
Yeah.
Like that, as you would a pierogi, a Polish pierogi, I suppose. Yeah. And then a little bit of flour here.
Yes.
Flip it over, and that's it.
But what's really clever is you put the seam underneath the
Underneath,
bottom.
exactly.
And then it goes onto a baking tray.
Yeah.
So how we would serve those?
You know what? I really like it with some hot sauce.
Oh, right, really? The Ukrainian versus Asia. That's great.
Really, these are good for breakfast, lunch, anything.
Fantastic.
And then
Oh, look at that. The smell in here is amazing. Olia, remind us what you made for us?
I made pyrishki stuffed with wild mushrooms, chestnuts, and apples.
Amazing. It's time for Christmas Eve feasting. I love Christmas Eve.
nose over here.
You know what? I
Thank
just
you.
really do. And it's things like this, Holly, I just think, you know,
break it
buns
off.
and bits and stuffing and mushrooms and chestnuts and I love.
Festive,
Well, I
festive.
love Christmas. Do you know why? Maybe I'm just a proper kid at heart. Oh, thank you. Well,
I'm
a little reading from-
salivating. This smells so good.
I've taken this too big.
What do you reckon?
Eat this gracefully.
That's it. Eat disgracefully. That's more like it. That's fantastic. Well, of course, we need some wine to go with Olia's outstanding dish. We sent Jane Parkinson to Manchester to explore the Christmas markets. The wine.
Smells delicious.
It's pretty good. Theo?
It's got to be Christmas. I mean, this is like expensive wine going on here.
Hey, you know me, though. You got all the friends
lovely.
around for Christmas Eve. You got to
It's nice
shout
and
them at
light
nice
as well.
bottle.
Delicious.
I think that's absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. And because we fed you now, Theo, you've got something to drink,
So
which is
good.
brilliant. Because you're going to make us something very, very soon. Can you remind us what you're going to make us?
So I'm doing. I better put that down. I'm going to finish. I'm doing roasted pheasant with celeriac. Pheasant's wrapped in pancetta. I'm going to cook it with a bit of milk, a bit of cream, a bit of marsala. It is delicious with cavolo nero.
What do you reckon, Charlotte?
Sorry.
We're doing all right. What a great way to spend Christmas Eve. All those soufflés and pears and everything, it looks like an amazing feast. Pears truly are one of my festive favourite fruits. And so, Charlotte, I'm going to make you something sweet and festive, something I think is really, really delicious. I'm going to cook you poached pears in red wine, so like a Christmas mulled red wine, and I'm going to show you how to make the most basic, brilliant, fail-safe custard that doesn't split or doesn't curdle.
Great.
It's amazing. Are you a pear fan?
I'm a huge pear fan.
Are you a red wine fan?
Yes.
By the looks of the last little bit there.
It's embarrassing that I drank that so quickly. Television.
It's not too
terrifying.
bad at
Yeah.
all. I'm just going to simply poach some pears, and poached pears, I think, are just a great way. You can store them, keep them, or serve them straight away. I've got a couple peeled, I'll peel some more. So, pears, and when you peel them, I try and do them in one sort of continuous swoop, because if you do them one little line, when you pull them out the pot, they actually have that lovely line on them, and you get a sort of a sculptured effect. They're very pretty, but I also think you've got a bit more control.
Yeah.
Right, Christmas time and Call the Midwife.
Yes.
Where are you going to be off to on your Christmas special?
Well, we are off to Cape Town in South Africa.
What?
Yes, yeah.
But
Change
that's
of
not
scene.
Christmas.
Well, I mean, they have Christmas there.
Of course they
Some
do.
people have Christmas there.
But no,
other
it's
people
not white
celebrate
Christmas.
different celebrations. Yeah, it's basically going to be a warm Christmas, which is unusual. And I think it's a very welcome change. I think all of us were really chuffed to find out that we were going to South Africa. That was like a lovely treat. But also, it's just such it's so beautiful. It was so beautiful there. There's something.
And so, what is the storyline? What's the story about?
So the essential reason why we're there is because obviously we all operate in a nunnery. That's where Call the Midwife is set. That's where all the midwives live alongside the nuns. And we are contacted by a mission in Cape Town who has lost one of their most important patrons, people who are in charge, basically. And so we're called out to sort of tend to the clinic and to stop it closing down. So we all go together
To help out.
Yeah.
I mean, but doing something. I'm just going to chuck these bits in here, if you don't mind, really quickly. Bay leaves, cinnamon sticks, star anise, vanilla, lemon, and orange rind
Great.
are all going to go into the pot, and I'm going to flavour this whole thing. Imagine you're making mulled wine. So then you do brandy, and then you do sugar, and then, if that comes out, sugar, and then a whole bottle of red wine. Now watch this. This is my speedy way of getting out. You twist the bottle of red wine, and it turns really fast, and out it comes. Now, when you get cast for something like Call the Midwife, do you have to go and learn how to be a midwife?
I mean, I think you could. It would be useful. I didn't, because I was so afraid of being an actor in somebody's birthing room.
Right.
I just couldn't imagine anything worse than lingering while someone is in pain and giving birth to their child. So I consulted a few books that are specific to the 1960s in midwifery, and we also have an amazing midwife who we consult for any kind of technical knowledge called Terry Coates, and she's been with the show from the beginning. She kind of was with the first manifestation of the show, and she knows everything there is to know about midwifery, and specifically 1960s midwifery. So if I'm panicking about where my hands are supposed to be, which is already awkward for the poor actress that I'm working with, she'll be there to kind of help.
But there's a couple of things here. One is that I do know that you loved Call the Midwife before you were cast in it.
I did.
I know that.
Yeah.
What was it like when you got the call?
It was, I mean, it was amazing, obviously, but also suddenly worrying, because I had to think about how I wasn't going to let on that I loved the show, because I didn't want to accidentally call everyone by their character names and be super uncool. So I was really...
Is that super uncool, is it?
I think so, because I think it makes you seem mad if you go on and call people by their character names as if you think they're real.
Because you are working with some amazing people, aren't you?
Yeah.
What, heroes?
Yeah, I would say so. All the actresses on the show, I mean, it's not so much all their sort of individual careers, it's also what I've found, having worked on it, is the generosity of the whole team. I just think it's quite unusual to have a show with so many women in it on a primetime show about women's issues, and to have so many women working so well together. There's such a stereotype that women in particular are competitive actresses, and I haven't found that at all on that show.
But the other thing is, of course, is these issues and what was going on wasn't that long ago. I mean, when you really think about it, it's only 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And we look back at it now and think, wow, some of the stuff is pretty draconian, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but also what's sad is that a lot of the prejudices that existed then still exist now, and I think what's more alarming is when you watch the show and you think how some things haven't changed, and that's quite scary. But it is, yeah, I mean, it's in living memory for so many people, so it's very interesting in that respect. It's not a kind of mythical past that we
No,
glamorise.
not at all. And that's what's so lovely about it, is that there is the truth in it, which is fantastic. My pears here, poached in red wine, brandy, spices, sugar, lemon rind, orange rind, custard, 400 mils of cream, 400 mils of milk. This is for everybody out there. This is the fail-safe custard. Scald it, and when I say scald it, you just bring it up so that it just starts to bubble. Egg yolks, 6 egg yolks, and then sugar, 100 grams of sugar, and corn flour and flour into a bowl. You whip it till it goes white, and I'm going to pour the milk mixture over the top, and that will then go back into the pot and come to the boil. Yes, it comes to the boil and it will not scramble. It's fail-safe, it's fantastic, it's delicious, and it's wonderful. So that's my custard.
Sold!
I don't...
Sold.
So it's like
Now-
a creme pat, really.
What's that?
Is it creme pat?
Well, not quite, because it's
Less.
sort of, less flour, less corn flour. But you need to boil it up so that you don't end up... But I think people are scared of custard, and I love custard, and this is a really simple way of doing it. Now, talking about things that don't change, right? My son is at university, and you were, for quite a long time, at university as a character in Fresh Meat.
Yes.
So how do you take from being a university person who was quite bad by the sounds, quite naughty? Were you quite naughty?
The character did things that I don't necessarily approve of. But, you know, each to their own, and I don't know why I said that, she's not real. But, yeah, she was a great character, but made mainly mistakes all the time. So it was fun to play that. But her university experience was far more scandalous than mine, so it was fun.
Do you think that is where your whole sort of wonderful life of acting started?
I think so. I mean, I'd been doing it sort of since I was like 15. I did it at school, and I loved it, but I kind of didn't really know if you could never really imagined. If you say it out loud, then it sounds like, I just didn't know it would be a real job, basically, when I was younger. But I think that was where, that was the first kind of really big job I got, and I think they really took quite a big risk on me there. And,
But you are continuously busy. You've gone from Fresh Meat, you've gone to Call the Midwife, you're doing Christmas specials, and you're doing panto.
Yeah. Well, it's not... so I am doing panto at the moment, but it's sort of an anti-panto, so...
Is that like an antipasto?
Exactly, because I'm a good cook, and that's the kind of pun I make. But it's basically sort of taking the panto structure and slightly subverting it. And it's great. I'm doing it at the moment. It's on at the new Diorama Theatre, and it's a small cast of 7, small venue, which is really nice, and it's singing and it's comedy, and it's sounding great.
And it's called?
It's called Ricky Whittington and His Cat.
Ricky Whittington and His Cat?
Yeah, and it's based on Dick Whittington and his cat.
Of course, good old Dick Whittington.
Far away from the original.
Right, we're talking about Dick Whittington and a cat. Now I've got a pear. How I got there, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, there's the pear. Look at that. Steaming, beautiful, singular majesty of a pear and red wine. I've taken some of the syrup out. They cook for about 40 minutes. Take some of the syrup out, and then that syrup just starts to thicken. And you pour that thick syrup across the top. That goes there like that, right there. And then what you do is you take my fail-safe, wonderful, very delicious, almost absolutely the best whole custard in the whole world, and you stir it around with a spoon a little bit, and you pour some custard around the outside first, so it goes like that.
Wow.
How's it looking, Charlotte?
Yeah, really good.
There you go. That's the right answer. Thank you very much. And there we are. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's hot. It's very hot, but look at that. Simple red wine, the taste of Christmas, and custard.
Yum. I trying to look like I'm cool about it, but and not
take a little tiny bit
like
there.
dribble.
Go on. Take a bit of it. Tiny bit of the.
No, this is going to go everywhere.
Use that. Do you want me to cut it up for you? This is what I love. You see, thankfully, I've got lots of children, and one's still at university, and I've still got to cut up their food for them as well, especially when they come back from university.
Embarrassing for me.
Did you used to take when you were at university, take your washing back to your parents' place?
I didn't actually.
Didn't you?
I just.
My son turns up with his washing all the time now. I love it. There he is. I think for Christmas I might buy him a big box of soap powder and maybe a washing machine so he knows how to do it.
I think that's a good idea.
It's not bad, is it?
It's delicious.
So there we are.
Really good.
I mean, simple enough. They all do that. So what will I be cooking for Charlotte at the end of the show? For Food Heaven, I'm going to make a light and fluffy chocolate mousse with chocolate sauce, using dark chocolate, of course, brandy and cream. I'll whip up a mousse and serve it on top of a break praline biscuit and pour over hot chocolate sauce so the biscuits melt. Or Charlotte, you could be having your food hell, which is Christmas pudding. Well, there we are. I'll make the ultimate Christmas pudding dessert, mixing leftover Christmas pudding with brandy and vanilla ice cream and serve with almond and marzipan puddings. Another one of your hells. And of course, some brandy butter sauce, so you're numb by the time you eat it. Happy Christmas, Nigel. Still to come today on Saturday Kitchen, Tom Kerridge is getting very organised this Christmas Eve. He's preparing carrots with star anise for the big day with a generous helping of mulled cider. But the big question is, will Charlotte be facing Food Heaven, chocolate, or Food Hell, Christmas pudding? Ooh. Of course, it's not up to our chefs today. Instead, we're going to let fate decide. And I'll explain exactly how at the end of the show. It's fun, I promise. I promise it's going to be fun. And as it's Christmas Eve, we thought we'd mix up the omelette challenge and ask our chefs to make a special festive breakfast rather than a normal omelette. There we are. So you'll both have to use your imagination to spruce up the omelette challenge. There'll be no excuses. Well, you've both got to come up with a cracker of a breakfast. Yay! Puns aside, there's a man who knows how to cook great food. Theo Randall, come join us, young man, and cook us something truly delicious. What are you going to make for us, Theo? You always make such amazing food, which you make look so simple.
Mate, I'm going to cook pheasant.
Yum, I love a pheasant.
OK, so we've got a pheasant here.
Yep.
And I've got some rosemary, and we're going to stuff the pheasant. I'm going to wrap it in some pancetta, and we're going to seal it off, and we're going to use some marsala, some milk, some cream, and we've got some celeriac, which we're going to cook in with the pheasant. So you get this amazing sort of like quite earthy flavours, and the milk gets seasoned, but basically the milk tastes of the pheasant.
So you're using the milk as a sauce?
Pretty much, but it's also the cooking. It sort of steams the pheasant. So, you know, pheasant's one of those birds that can overcook, and it can be quite dry.
Do you think people are frightened of things like pheasants and
I think pheasant's the most wonderful, wonderful bird to cook, and I think people just worry that you know the breast is going to be perfectly cooked, but the leg will be undercooked.
What do you see? For me, I would say to people, it's like a small chicken. Just treat it the same way. But the breast is the thing, as you say, dries out.
Yes.
I try and cook mine breast side down rather than breast side up. But you're doing this instead.
Well,
what are you doing?
What I'm going to do is I'm basically going to seal it off in the pan, and then we're going to put it into the pan with some marsala and the milk, and we're going to kind of cook it round so it sort of steams. I'm going to put a bit of paper on top, and it's going to steam as it cooks, which makes the leg cook quicker.
This is like my vegetable Christmas tree, Theo.
Now that's...
Which is like get baubles on it.
That is a beautiful thing. I love celeriac. Do you know celerac's got 5 times as much fibre as a potato?
Brilliant. So we should eat it and make us feel good.
It should make you feel very good.
I think people are scared of pheasants and partridge and things. Yeah. I think people are scared of celeriac. And actually, it's not that difficult, is it? Because you actually just peel the outside off and then chop it up in the same way as you would do a potato.
Yeah, and also it's good to buy celeriac with the leaves on, so you know how fresh it is. When you get a lot of celeriac, they tend to have, you know, it's all trimmed off. And then it's kind of maybe a little bit too old and doesn't have a nice flavour.
Great tip. And then but what we're going to do is cut it up, and then it's going to be poached already and cooked already. Is that right?
Yeah. So
this is the way I do it. I start from the top and just cut all the way around the outside and
that's how you should
turn it around the way it goes.
Yeah.
And that's good. So you've got your pheasant there. What sort of pheasant? Is it a hen or?
So it's a hen pheasant. So girls are much tenderer than boys.
Yes.
So always go for the hen. It's got much kind of the boys are kind of a little bit tough.
Right.
And the girls are much softer and...
A bit sort of butch.
Yeah, a bit too...
Have you... Talk about being butch. Have you squeezed my bauble? You see what happens? So squeeze it. What happens? What's going on?
I don't know if I really... Do I have to?
Go. Yes. Go on. Ho, 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 ho. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Amazing how that does that. Right, butter. Your lovely...
So, bit of butter. We're going to bit more seasoning on the outside, so really season it up nicely, because remember it's been cooked in milk.
Yes.
And then we're just going to put the pheasant in there.
This is sort of your Italian world. I mean, very few people would think about a game bird being cooked in milk. Where do you get all these ideas from, and how do you continue to refresh them?
Well, the thing about milk is milk's a great... I mean, there's some classic, you know, Tuscan dishes where they cook pork and lamb and things like that, or veal in milk.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just another way of cooking. And the thing about milk is, you know, once it reduces, it actually has a really lovely, lovely flavour, because I'm getting to get the flavour out of the pheasant into the milk. So you're kind of creating your own sauce.
Well, of course, everybody forgets that, of course, milk, and you change it, becomes cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
So you end up with that lovely cheesy flavour, don't you, that goes with it?
Absolutely.
So you're sealing it off.
We're sealing it off just to get a little bit of, not so much colour, just want to get the a little bit of the fat out of the pheasant.
Right.
And then we're going to just get rid of some of that fat, and then we're going to pour the marsala in. So you've got that sort of lovely kind of Christmassy flavour. So this is it's a brilliant Christmas.
And if I don't have masala, Theo, what do I use?
Any kind of sweet wine. You can use port. You could even use something like whiskey or something would give it a nice flavour as well. Yeah, why
really?
not?
Or sweet sherry, maybe?
Sweet sherry.
Oh,
yeah.
a bit of that lovely sweet sherry you got in the cupboard for Christmas. Restaurant dish? This is definitely a restaurant dish?
Well, I mean, we do it in the restaurant. It's one of those things that I would just serve in the middle of the table at home, but we do a kind of variation in the restaurant. And
talking about restaurants, you continue to grow your empire, Theo. You've gone from one restaurant now, and how many have you got?
I've got 3. So we've got a restaurant in Bangkok, a restaurant in Kensington, and the one that I cook in Park Lane.
Right.
So,
okay.
Right. So let's get rid of some of this fat. I'm just going to put that. Where should I put this fat?
You put it anywhere you like.
Into a bowl. Here we go.
There's a little bowl there, mate.
Okay.
There you go.
Theo, can you keep the fat?
You
don't chuck it and then cook eggs in it or something?
Yeah, it'd be delicious. Now, that's a good idea.
She might be nicking it for a breakfast.
That's a good idea. Pheasant-infused eggs. Yeah. Right, OK, so then we're going to get our marsala, put the marsala in.
Yep.
And then we're going to add our... Get a bit of flame on there, lovely. And then...
Just get rid of the alcohol so the children can eat it.
So just bring this up to the simmer. So basically what we're doing here, we're creating a kind of the stock almost with the marsala, the milk and the cream.
And now I know why you've taken so much of the fat out, otherwise it's going to be greasy.
It'd be very greasy, yeah. I just want to get that sort of flavour of the butter in there.
Right.
And then we're going to pop the celeriac in there. So basically it's just been blanched, so just boiled in boiling salted water.
Yep.
The milk and the cream, it's very important you bring it up to the boil, so when the pheasant goes in,
yep,
it doesn't lower the temperature. So in goes the celeriac.
And I'm just cleaning, while you do that, I'm just cleaning this Cavolo Nero. People, I think, get frightened of this as well. Take out the big hard stalk. And what you do and I do is always boil the Cavolo Nero first.
Absolutely.
Always what I call twice cooked. Always boil it twice.
Can I tell you a story about Cavolo Nero?
Yes.
So when my daughter was little, we had like lots of friends over for Christmas Day, and I cooked these ducks, and I covered them with honey, and I roasted these great big ducklings, and I had this big bowl of Cavolo Nero. And my daughter came up to me, and she's about 3, and she pulled my arm, she goes, "Daddy, I'm not eating roast dog, and I'm definitely not eating crocodile skin."
Sweet.
Isn't that sweet?
Lovely.
Right, OK, so this...
So that's it.
That's
so you
basically
actually
it.
just do that. The masala deglazed the pan, all the bits, and now you're going to cover that with paper.
Yeah, so I'm going to we'll do a cartouche, OK? So fold it over.
And I can look after. I'll put that in the oven for you.
Thank you. And
then you can get the Cavolo Nero on.
And then...
Well, this is the clever bit, isn't it? Where you make it into a round,
clever bit.
isn't it?
And then put that on top. And then basically what we're going to do, we're going to cook this for like 12 minutes at about 180 degrees in the oven.
OK.
And then we're going to take it off after 12 minutes just to get a bit of colour on the pancetta.
Right, that's yours.
Okay,
While I go over here. I'm going into the oven. What temperature, Theo?
180, please, for 12 minutes.
180 for 12 minutes.
That's quite quick as well.
It's quite quick, yeah.
Yes. 12. That's amazing, isn't it, actually? Because a lot of people would probably cook it for a lot longer. You take the cartouche off, and then how long?
Then you leave it for like 5 minutes after you put the cartouche, just to get a little bit of colour on there. And the thing is, you want to then let it rest, because it's very important, a bird like that, to let the residual heat kind of carry on cooking. So a little bit of olive oil.
Well, I've got to say, it looks amazing. We haven't got anywhere near it. And if you'd like to actually give Theo's recipe a try, then of course you can. And any other of the studio recipes, because all you got to do is go to the website, bbc.co.uk, Saturday Kitchen. All the recipes are there, and you can try them. I love the way you cook, Theo. You've just got this sort of lovely, relaxed way of doing it. You've got your lovely pheasant here, all trussed. Can I take the trussing off it for you?
Yeah, let's get this off. Let's take that off. So
let's take that trussing off.
Make sure you get the juice out of the pheasant. Pop that pan on the stove.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah, you do that, yeah.
De-truss.
Let's get this nice and hot.
But look at that lovely, all the bacon's crispy as well. And again, it's Christmas, isn't it? Birds and stuffing and bacon and lovely vegetables and everybody hanging around the kitchen. See, one of the things I love about Christmas is everybody in the kitchen. Everybody around and eating and drinking and
well, yeah, you know
laughing.
the saying, too many cooks spoil the broth. So you don't have to...
I come out of the way, Theo. I'm out of the way. Don't worry about it.
No,
I understand.
There wasn't
yes.
No.
They also say many hands make light work, Theo. You know? That was fed in my ear, by the way, by the gallery. They told me to
very
say
clever.
That, yeah.
Okay,
it wasn't my saying at all.
So we take the pan dry. So you can see, just feel that. It's really nice and juicy.
Yes.
So it's kind of almost like steamed. And then just turn that cover, just get that cover.
Well, you cut that up and I'll look after your cavolo nero for you.
Okay, just give that a little...
And if you can't find pheasant, what would you use, Theo?
Well, you could do this with anything, really. I mean, you could do this with guinea fowl. Guinea fowl would be really nice. But I think the nice point is it's got this sort of gamey taste, which is good. So you could do it with grouse, you could do it with partridge. But I think pheasant is one of the most underrated game birds.
And does this sauce now just thicken up then, Theo?
Just bring it to the simmer. It should be quite thick already.
Well, it is.
So can you see the legs? They're nice and pink, but they've got they're kind of juicy as well.
And
so
you do you use the breast as well?
Definitely, yeah.
You wouldn't use the whole bird on one plate, would you?
Well, I'd probably eat the whole bird on one plate. But no,
Yeah, no.
This is for two people.
Yes, it is.
So then down to the...
And do you want this cavolo nero on the plate, Theo?
Yeah, a little bit of cavolo nero on the plate, not too much.
Big bottle out of the way.
Okay, so...
Nothing worse than have a bottle in front of you. So a funnel in bottom of me or a bottle in front of me. Right,
that sounds dangerous.
There we are. That cavolo nero smells amazing. It looks amazing. I like to just fluff it up so it just sits nicely. A little bed for it. A nest for our pheasants.
OK, so then we're going to put the leg on there. That's beautiful. Leg like that. Pheasant on top. Nice, juicy pheasant. And then we're going to get some of that pancetta.
That pan handle's hot, young Theo, so please be careful.
Pancetta on the side.
Nice big spoonful.
And then, that's it, that cloth.
You are.
And then we get a nice spoonful of that beautiful...
But do you know what I mean about the way you work? It's just, you chop up bits of bacon, you chop up the bird, you sort of sit there, and you allow its beauty just to be there. No, honestly, watching you cook, I love watching you cook.
I love you, John.
No, because it's all big loving. It's Christmas Eve after all. It's just absolutely fantastic. Theo, can you tell us what that is?
So we've got pheasant cooked with marsala, cream, milk, celeriac, and cavolo nero.
Delicious. Ta-da! Christmas time, mistletoe and wine. There we are.
I'm ready for this.
Yep. I haven't had a lot of sort of Christmas birds and roasts yet so far this year. I've had a couple. But I love pheasant, I love partridge.
Yeah. The thing about game birds is that, you know, they've got so much flavour, you just got to cook them carefully. I think, you know, I think of cooking them either really fast and letting them rest for a long time is a good way.
See, what's really nice about that, you got a wow. Without even asking. Charlotte said wow. Olia, what do you reckon? Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
You're quiet. That's okay. It's okay
incredible.
because... Sorry, I'm still eating. Theo, what do you think of the wine?
I love Etna Rossa, and this is a particularly good one. It's really delicious, and it's nice. It's really tangy. Goes really nicely with the pheasant.
Etna Rossa, I've never
choice.
really had it before.
Perfect choice.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely nose on it. Charlotte?
What does that mean, a nose on it?
You can smell it. It smells good. It smells right, doesn't it? Yep, there you go. That's all we need to know.
Yep.
Olia, what do you
Very
reckon?
smooth, like the sauce in the dish. Really nice and smooth. Nice
Wow, I'm ready to eat some food. That looked absolutely delicious. Because we're not live today, we asked some of our favourite chefs to send in a question, because it's Christmas. Up first, Nicholas Eggstedt is from Sweden. G'day, Nicholas.
Hi, this is Nicholas calling from Stockholm. I was just wondering if you had a wonderful cocktail recipe to share with me. That would be great, thank you.
Christmas cocktail for Nicholas. Go on.
Oh, you want it now?
Yeah.
Well, those guys love fermenting stuff. Just use a little bit of your fermenting liquid in your Bloody Mary. There's a little...
So, like, a
Pick
Bloody
me up.
Mary, Christmas Day, Christmas morning?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
Bloody Mary with a bit of fermented juice in.
What's your favourite Christmas cocktail, Theo?
I love an Aperol Spritz, but I think at Christmas time I'd get a pink grapefruit and I'd take the skin off and I'd put that in the cocktail and it would be delicious. I love it.
Or blood oranges.
Or blood oranges, yeah.
Well, you guys can talk about your favourite cocktail a little bit later on. Because next up, we are very, very excited to have Tom Kitchen from Edinburgh. G'day, Tom.
Hi guys, my wife's Swedish, so we celebrate Christmas on the 24th with traditional Swedish fare. Then on the 25th we have the good old British Christmas. And then on the 26th it's my mum's birthday. It's all a bit crazy really. Tell me, what happens in your house?
What happens in your house, Charlotte?
People sleep, much to my dismay, to like 11 a.m. So I have to wait for ages for Christmas Day to start, as if I'm still in the mentality of an 8-year-old. And then we have a really, really late, big Christmas dinner that actually, as a family, we sort of cook as if it's some special achievement, even though my mum cooks so much of the time.
It sounds like one of those romantic comedies where it's all a bit sad at first and then it becomes really, really happy.
Yeah, I like to
Christmas
make
Day's
it
like
dramatic.
What about you two?
Celebrate it twice, of course. Do the British Christmas and then the Ukrainian Christmas, and both times we cook and get drunk.
Love the honesty. Theo?
Sounds good. Well, I mean, like Christmas Day, everyone comes round to our house and we have this massive, great big party with all my family and my wife's family. It's good times.
Brilliant. And next we have Ching Hee Wang en route to LA.
Ooh.
Hi everyone, Ching here on the way to LA. I just want to ask, how do you make the best Yorkshire pudding?
It's a good Christmas recipe, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, I like Yorkshire pudding with everything. I think Yorkshire pudding should be with every single roast.
Well, the tip about Yorkshire pudding is when you've made your batter, make sure you put the tray you're going to cook the Yorkshire pudding in a really hot oven with oil in there with some sunflower
No,
oil.
beef dripping.
Or beef dripping, and then pour it out and then put the mixture in and then they'll shoot up really quickly.
My Lisa used a little tiny bit of a stock cube in the bottom of every single one.
Oh, really?
And they're really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I don't like them. I always give them away.
You don't
most
like
popular.
Yorkshire pudding?
You don't like Yorkshire pudding?
I don't.
Nice to know you, Charlotte. Anyway, there we go. Let's move on. There we go. Just joking. Next up, Cyrus Toddywaller from London town.
What would be the best stuffing for your goose this Christmas?
Quince and ginger and garlic and loads of warming spices.
Oh, I like that.
Quince cooked in all that goose fat and goose juices.
That's really cool. Theo, you
Oh, well, I love this old... It's a recipe in one of Joyce Molyneux's books, and it's an old Victorian recipe where you get a goose and you roast the goose really quickly in the oven to get some of the fat out. You take the goose out, and then in the pan, you slice onions, you fry the onions, you add chestnuts, you add tomato, and you add brandy, a lot of brandy. Then you put the goose back in there, and all the fat just sits on top of these onions and tomatoes, and they just continuously cook for like 2 hours. You then take that off, pour the fat off, and just serve that with the goose. It's delicious.
Wow.
We're going to your house for Christmas Day. Paul Ainsworth from Padstow. G'day, Paul.
Hello guys, Paul Ainsworth here from Padstow in Cornwall. I was wondering, Brussels sprouts, everyone always says to put them with bacon. Any other tips to do beautiful Brussels sprouts on Christmas Day?
I like to give them as presents to other people.
What's wrong with
I'm not a Brussels.
sprout?
I'm going to be really honest about it. I love cabbage. I love kale. I love Brussels sprout. I'll give them to the neighbour. They can have them.
No, just pan fry them and then brown butter and flaked toasted almonds.
Nice.
Yeah, brown butter's good, actually, yeah.
Yeah. Charlotte, you're a Brussels sprout fan?
I don't mind them actually. Yeah.
You know, you can grate them as well. If you grate a Brussels sprout and then fry it in a little bit of butter,
Yes.
it tastes even better.
I've tried
It
that.
tastes much better.
That sounds great. Time now for the Christmas Breakfast Challenge. It's a special show, so we thought we'd set our chefs the challenge of making the best breakfast for Christmas morning using the ingredients in front of them. And of course, there are eggs. There are eggs. Come and join me, guys. Come and join me. There are eggs, but there's also bacon, smoked salmon, goat's cheese, black pudding, mushrooms, muffins, toast, bread, buttercream, salt, pepper, whatever you like. Wow. Now, the deal is you've only got 2 minutes to make breakfast in. So it's got to be a speedy breakfast. And at the end of this, our special guest Charlotte's going to choose her favourite.
Choose wisely.
So there we are. You understand the rules?
Yep.
No pressure at all. 2 minutes, your best Christmas breakfast. Now, let me just say something. When the music starts, you can start cooking. When the music finishes, it's got to be on the plate ready to eat. Okay. Whatever's on the plate, if it's in the pan, we can't eat it. Right? There's the rules. Good. Theo and Olia. 3, 2, 1, start music. Olia's chopping up some bacon.
It's such relaxing music for such a stressful thing.
So is Theo.
You need...
Olia seems to be calmer. Sort of quite nice to wander. Very
Nice
calm.
for you, not for them.
It makes a difference, isn't it? You
Yeah.
see? Wander around. Right, so you've now got Theo. What have you got in there, mate?
I've got a bit of pancetta or bacon, and I've got some mushrooms in there, and I'm just going to fry them off, and I'm going to do something a little bit different.
Right, so you're doing something a bit different.
A bit different.
Okay, well, we're going to find out what you... Oh, we've got black pudding going in as well. You've got mushrooms and bacon also, Olia.
Classic.
In different pans.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Get the colour on.
Right, are you going to keep it all secret? Oh, look, she's making bread, fried bread.
Oh.
Charlotte, look at Charlotte's really excited. Look, down there. Charlotte, show us your plaster. I like look like.
Oh, yeah.
Very
It's actually
nice.
my niece's plaster. She
Very
likes... I found it in the house. I got a paper cut and felt like I needed plaster.
Well, that's good. We'll hold you in good stead for Christmas Eve breakfast.
Yeah.
You're halfway, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. Halfway.
Wow.
Oh, this is really good. Look, oh, black pudding. Let's get you a bit more heat there, mate. Do you want a bit more heat there?
Yeah, a bit more heat, yeah.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's bread, fried slice, bit of... There's only 40 seconds left, guys. Okay. Now, Theo, what's your record for making an omelette?
13 seconds. No, 14 seconds.
14 seconds world record. Theo is to hold it off. So we are confident that we've... Oh, look at that's clever. Of course, put a lid on top. Theo is making an omelette. He's making it. You've got 20 seconds left, both of you.
And it warms it up as well.
Oh, look, he's making an omelette. Look at this. What's he doing here? You've only got 10 seconds, Theo.
It's a hot grill.
10 seconds. 7 seconds. 5 seconds. Quick. On the plate. Quick. On the plate. On the plate now. Quick. Theo, get on the plate.
What time is it?
Now, it's not the music stops. Look, it might be Christmas, but we've all got... Get it on the plate. Come on.
Okay.
Come on, it's Christmas Eve, I know. Oh, you got to get this on.
I was trying to make a frittata. Okay.
You were going to make a frittata. Come on, up you go. Go. Here we go, go on. Look at that.
Boom.
Oh. Nearly there. I have to tell you that realistically, you're both over and you should have been disqualified. Charlotte, come and join us. Come up and say hello. Right, I'm going to give you cutlery. There you are. That's for you. That's there. Olia, can you tell Charlotte what she's about to indulge in, please?
Yeah, it's bread fried in butter and bacon, some mushrooms and some eggs.
There you go. That's not bad in 2 minutes, hey? It's all right?
Yeah, really good.
Fresh set of cutlery.
Thank you.
Right, good. And Theo, would you please tell Charlotte what your...
This was supposed to be a frittata, so it should be the other way around, but it's a kind of slightly undercooked one, but...
Baveurs, we call that, don't we, Theo?
Very good.
Good. Right, Charlotte, what do you reckon? What do you think?
Well, they both cheated, time-wise, but also it's Christmas, so I can't choose, and everybody's a winner.
Well,
This is when I never get invited back on the show ever again.
technically, that is right. However, Charlotte, the thing is, we've got to be able to find out very soon whether Charlotte will get her food heaven chocolate or a food hell Christmas pudding. We'll find out which one you'll get to eat, Charlotte, after a brilliant Yuletide treat from Tom Kerridge. Thanks, Tom. Right, it's time to find out whether Charlotte is going to get her food heaven or her food hell. For food heaven, Charlotte, I'm going to make you a delicious chocolate mousse with chocolate sauce. Using dark chocolate and brandy and cream, I'm going to whip up and make a lovely, lovely mousse. I'm going to serve the whole thing on some praline biscuits. Some hot chocolate sauce is going to be poured across the top, which will melt the praline, make like a salted caramel.
Nice.
Sound good?
Yes, very good.
Well, that could happen, or you could be facing your food hell. And there it is, the Christmas pudding. I'll make you an ultimate Christmas pudding dessert, mixing leftover Christmas pudding with vanilla ice cream and brandy to make a Christmas pudding ice cream. Serve it with marzipan puddings. You're not a fan of marzipan, are you?
No.
No, there you go, that as well. And some brandy butter sauce. Now, as it's a special show, there is no vote. So instead, what we're going to do is ask you to pick a special bauble of our Christmas tree. Come this way. Come with me. You're there. There we are. 2 very special baubles. And in there, your fate is sealed. One contains food heaven, one contains food hell.
Okay.
Which one you have?
This
Top
one. This one, yeah.
Top one, okay. Hey, what's in... Whoa! Right, inside here it's written... What's it say?
There's a little scroll.
What's it say? What's it say? Oh!
Oh, no! But also, it will be nice, I think. Probably.
Well, you know what? Let's just so that the world knows. Could you please... We're going to pull that to one side. Oh, I like all this. And then in the other one, just so everybody knows, can you open the other one for us?
Yeah.
because that's the other one. And what's in that one say? It says it could have been food heaven.
Chocolate.
But you know what? Heaven or hell, whatever it might be. The fact is Christmas Eve, Charlotte. So we're going to have fun with our family, our friends.
Yes,
let's
we
go,
are.
let's
Good,
go.
let's
We'll make
go.
something nice. Right, you two. So we are getting rid of all the chocolate.
Yep.
Okay. The chocolate's, in a way, do you know what? Chocolate's not that good for you anyway, Charlotte. So you might as well have Christmas pudding on Christmas Eve. And I think that's the best way to do it. So we're going to take that away. Do you want a bit to nibble on?
Yeah, I'd love some, thank you.
There go, a bit of
Say
chocolate.
goodbye.
That'll keep you happy, just over there. OK, so that goes as well. Yep. Thank you, that's gone. And now we're left with making a sponge pudding and Christmas pudding ice cream. Theo, could you make the Christmas pudding ice cream? There's Christmas pudding there to be chopped up. There's some softened ice cream behind you.
Okay, lovely.
And not too fast, so don't rush just yet. It's Christmas Eve.
All right, well,
OK, Olia, could you please make for me a brandy sauce? Just some milk, sugar and butter and brandy. Bring it to the boil, add a bit of corn flour, make sure there's no lumps, give it a bit of a whisk. I'm going to make some puddings. Charlotte, could you give me a hand, please? Would you mind? Okay. Would you just take that for me?
Yep.
Over the other side of the mixer.
Yep. And
then this over here. Now, I'm going to make marzipan puddings, almond puddings, because I think they're lovely. People get really confused and concerned about making puddings. It's very easy, actually. If you weigh your eggs and you use exactly the same quantities of butter, sugar and flour, then you'll make a perfect pudding. That's it. So if your eggs weigh 150 grams, it's 150 grams of everything else. And all you do is simply cream your butter and sugar together till it starts to go white and add your eggs to it really slowly. So, Christmas pudding ice cream, Theo?
Yep.
You made it before?
No.
I think it's a really good way of using leftover Christmas pudding. You can't chop, you've got to sort of keep it a bit apart.
It's like a very...
rather than mushing it too much.
OK.
But it's sort of... I find that our house has lots of Christmas pudding left over.
Yeah.
It's sort of one of those things. Your house obviously does
A lot
as well.
left over, yeah.
Well, then maybe somebody can... So you just mix it with softened vanilla ice cream and Christmas pudding together, that's it. And away you go.
Yeah, OK.
This lovely mixture for sponge pudding, what I think is really clever about sponge puddings is that if you make a sponge pudding and you put it into a little mould and you steam it, it's a steamed sponge pudding. If you bake it, it's Victoria sponge. It's exactly the same recipe.
Oh, right.
Equal quantities, butter,
I can
sugar.
make that, yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Of course you can make it.
I have made
That
it.
is like the most delicious rum and raisin ice cream I've ever tasted.
But there you go. That's it. Brilliant. Add the eggs to it slowly, a couple at a time, a yolk, and then we're going to add a little bit of flour. And to that, I'm also going to add a tiny bit of almond essence and a little tiny bit of brandy.
Yep.
That's fine. And let's go. And now, you are, of course, on Christmas special.
Yes,
What time are you on Christmas special?
I don't know.
Don't you?
I'm so sorry, I can't remember what time we're on.
Well,
but I think it's best to watch BBC One all day in case it comes on.
that's a good idea. BBC One all day.
All day.
Yeah, on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Well, because we would have been on Christmas Eve and, you know, mix that together, keep on going, add the rest of the eggs.
This is quite a Call the Midwife coloured
It
blender.
is, isn't it?
Yeah, very 1950s.
Right.
So
there we
put
go.
the marzipan in the bottom of these.
Right, so the marzipan now goes in the bottom, thank you.
Okay.
So you take some marzipan and then you put a little... Sometimes I put marzipan inside my pudding mix.
Okay.
But I don't know, there's been something sort of warmy about you today, Charlotte, so just the marzipan on top.
Okay.
So almond marzipan pudding.
Great.
But that's how quick a sponge pudding is. I mean, it's really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
The kids at home make it all the time. It's just really, really easy. Whisk, don't worry about anything else. Whisk that together. Scrape down the bowl and make sure it's all mixed. And if it's a little bit tight, then all you need to do is add a tiny, tiny bit of milk to it. And that's all. Give it a stir. And then we're going to put that mixture into... Just chuck it there for me, Theo, if you can.
Doesn't sound too bad, does
No,
it?
it
Could
actually
you grab
sounds
that
quite
piping
good.
bag for me, Theo, please? Do you
I
mind?
feel like a sort of mad prince who's in his kitchen watching everyone cook around his dinner. It's really nice.
Do you want to fill that bag
Yeah,
for
of
me?
course.
See, it's sometimes really nice to have these people around who just do things.
It's
When I
amazing.
do a
I feel like I
pudding
should
mix, whatever pudding I do, I try not to fill it all the way because otherwise it goes across the top. But my hint on this is that you use lots and lots of water in the bottom of the tray. Make sure it steams nicely, whether it be a sponge pudding, whatever it might be. It doesn't really matter.
So, John, I've added a little bit of cornstarch to my sauce. Am I cooking it out a little bit?
Cook out,
what I'm
yes,
doing.
cook out
Yeah?
your little bit, cooking out your your mixture just a little bit. That's
Okay.
fine. So, besides Call the Midwife, our Christmas special, do you have a favourite Christmas Day watch on telly? Theo? Do you have a favourite Christmas Day watch on telly?
Oh, it's always got to be the Bond film.
The Bond film?
Yeah.
And so there, and of course, yeah, we'll just do Call the Midwife, but what else?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I think you'll find it's called Midwife.
And then what about you, Olia? What about you? Christmas Day watch? Do you have a Christmas Day telly watch?
With Nell and I?
Oh, no!
yeah,
Richard E.
nice.
Grant. What a very good choice.
Yeah, good choice.
What about you, Charlotte? Anything else besides your...
Only Call the Midwife on repeat.
These are going to go in the oven, and they're going to go in there, and they're going to bake for about 25 or 30 minutes. Of course, all the recipes are on the website, so you don't really have to worry about the timings too much. And it's Christmas Eve anyway, isn't it? So that's fine. Out come these lovely puddings. And, oh, how's your brandy cream going? Your brandy... The
Yeah,
brandy
I think
milk?
it's done.
Just watch
It's
yourself,
good.
Miss Charlotte. Sorry, lovely.
Doesn't taste floury anymore.
OK, no, it shouldn't taste flour. If you
No,
bring it
it's
to the
not, it
boil
doesn't.
and it won't split.
You can bring it to
Right.
it, it won't split.
Now,
It's delicious.
let's get a nice plate, shall we? It's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Christmas time. Do you, see, for me, I always think about Christmas Eve and that whole, what are we going to watch, and the fight, and everybody, what are we going to watch, what are we going to watch? And then it's too late to watch anything. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things, isn't it? It goes pretty late. Right, so that does that. Now, take this as hot. Ah! Oh, hot. Now, what happened, because we put the disc of marzipan on top of the pudding, is we have this lovely pudding, which comes out. Look at this.
Tap it.
Ooh.
Oh, and all the marzipan goes across the top.
Oh, look at
And Santa, of course, when the marzipan does that, goes, ho, 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 which is always important. I know, look, you know, it's Christmas Eve, you've got to have a bit of fun. You know, that's fine.
Are you going to keep this on Christmas Day as well?
I'm going to keep it on Christmas Day. Can you imagine what does it smell like? It was on for 2 days in a row. Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
look at that.
Look at that. Brandy butter across the top. And imagine it's sort of like Christmas time. That's fine. Across there. And then on the side of that,
this
of course, we need to be
The
able to
ice
have
cream.
some ice cream. Ice cream. Look at this. Here we go. And then you take the ice cream and you give it a nice little roll across there.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Professional.
Of course, there we go. And then that goes onto
good.
there like that. And, oh, of course, we've got to try and find something nice to go on top of him, like a reindeer. There we go. Don't eat the reindeer, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do that at home. There we go, Charlotte, there you are. Dig in. It's your first chance. Here we go. Theo's going to do something very special because I've got to do special wine for Christmas Eve. And special wine for Christmas Day, of course, has to be delicious, doesn't
very
it?
good.
Right,
Watch out.
Olia,
Oh, it's the rain. Yeah.
Let's save the reindeer.
how is it? Look what
Delicious.
Theo's going to do. Watch what he's going to do here. We'll do the wine. He's there. Look, he's...
Christmas
Brilliant.
theatre.
There we go.
That's great.
To go with our pudding, it's not really hell, is it? Christmas Eve
No,
has not
it's
been hell.
delicious.
It's been wonderful, Charlotte, hasn't it? You guys grab a glass of sherry because you can't have Christmas without
you.
sherry. There you go. That's good. That's yours,
Thank
Charlotte. There
you.
you are. There you are. This is sherry, pale sherry from Waitrose at $6.99, and it's delicious. Well, that's all from us today on Saturday Kitchen. A great big Christmas thank you to our brilliant studio chefs, Olia, Hercules and Theo Randall, our fantastic guests, Charlotte Ritchie, and the wonderful Jane Parkinson for the top festive wine choices. All the recipes for the show are on the website, bbc.co.uk, Saturday Kitchen. Next week, Matt Tevitt is hosting the New Year's Eve celebrations. Of course he is. And don't forget, Best Bites is back on New Year's Day on BBC Two. From me and from everybody here, wishing you a wonderful, a very happy, and of course, a safe Christmas. Happy Christmas to you all. Happy Christmas!